Kia ora, hello, Happy New Year. I'm Philip Duncan and it is good to be back, albeit a few days earlier than scheduled because of Cyclone Cody. So let's get into Cyclone Cody because it is likely to impact parts of the North Island as it comes through, especially on Monday. That's when we think it'll be at its closest. Now the storm is moving out of the tropics, so you're going to hear the term ex-cyclone. That doesn't mean that the storm is no longer a cyclone. It means it's no longer a tropical one. It's actually a technical difference, but it is still a storm and still going to retain damaging winds and heavy rain as it comes down and past East Cape on Monday. So don't let the ex-cyclone name fool you. It is still a storm. It just won't be tropical fueled anymore. It'll be more of the normal storms that we get in our part of the world. So it's one to watch. Now here is the latest MetService tracking. It shows it going very close to East Cape. And this is the cone of uncertainty. It gets wider the further away you get from the storm as the uncertainty increases. But this matches with most of the international modelling, which does show it getting either very close to East Cape or even making a direct hit there or being just offshore. Now that precise tracking of the centre does actually matter, not so much for the areas already in that risk zone, but for more the people outside of it. Coromandel Peninsula, for example, and Auckland. So you're outside the risk zone for now, but if the storm moves a little bit to the west, a little bit to the left, then that risk zone shifts further across into more populated parts. So we're 100% sure the storm is going southwards, but we're not 100% sure about how much wiggle room it'll have west and east as it does so. And that's what makes all the difference with the warnings and the forecast, that wiggle east and west. So here we are on Saturday. The storm's well north of us, although the easterly winds and the squash zone between the low and this big high down over the South Island means if you're in a tent or an awning, you're certainly going to feel those easterly winds blowing through as we go through Saturday. This is Saturday night, the same map. Just shows the storm a little bit more dramatically, I guess, with the very heavy rain associated around it and just a few little light showers maybe coming in here in that light easterly around Gisborne and northern Hawke's Bay. Now, as we get into Sunday, the storm gets closer. As I say, the damaging winds remain around it. So it's an ex-tropical cyclone, but it's not an ex-storm, it's still a storm. And so damaging winds here, the air pressure could be lower than 982. It could be well down into the 970s, and those damaging winds, while they're out at sea, the swells will start to come in. So you'll start to notice those beach conditions going downhill quite a bit as we go through Sunday. Very dangerous conditions, rips, currents, and rogue waves. So unless you're very experienced, we recommend that pretty much everybody stays out of the water as this storm comes in closer. So this is where we're lying on Monday morning. This is the ECM European model. It shows the storm out here to the east. The damaging winds are in the purple here. So this is the damaging portion of it. So it's large. It's bigger than the North Island, the damaging portion. But as you can see, Monday morning, most of it's out at sea. It's brushing these areas. And you can see clearly on this map why it matters. If it moves 50, 100 kilometers further to the west, further to the left of the screen, that will pull in those damaging winds into more populated areas. So that's the reason why there's still some uncertainty with this storm as it moves on in. This is nighttime, Monday night. So GFS modeling, that's out of America, shows the storm center just off East Cape. So close, almost technically a landfall. The damaging winds are around here, just getting into the Coromandel Peninsula, Auckland area with gusts to gale force, which is usually not damaging unless you're in a tent, then it might be. But it's certainly going to be very blustery and damaging winds possible north of Wairoa and very heavy rain in here. There could be up to 200 millimeters at this stage forecast for the Gisborne Ranges. So that's the GFS map for Monday evening. Here's the ECM one, the European one, very similar. I can compare the two again. GFS from America, ECM from Europe. Both showing 7 o'clock on Monday night, pretty much in the same place. The European model a little bit further out to sea. That means it's not as windy in Coromandel and Auckland. The GFS map shows it blustery in those areas. So that's why it does matter fine-tuning precisely where it's going to go. And speaking of all the different maps, here are three of them. You might take a while to get your head around this, but GFS from America, ECM from Europe, JMA from Japan. So you can see GFS is centered here, ECM centered there, and JMA centers it here. This is all for Monday, 7 p.m. So that's pretty much in the same area. So we can pretty much say right there, that's the risk zone for this storm, but we've still got another 48 hours, maybe 72 hours to go before we can truly lock that in. So we've got to watch this space. And this is how it will look on the wind map based on that American modelling. You can see the areas in the bright, those are the areas with the damaging winds. So all the way from about Napier up to East Cape and potentially Coromandel Peninsula, right on the edge of that risk zone. Rain-wise, this is the rain accumulation map through until this coming Wednesday. It gives you a really clear picture where the storm is going to go and where the rain is most likely. So we're looking at over 100 millimeters here in the purple shading. Now this isn't high resolution, so this is not capturing the double amounts probably up in the ranges, but just generally speaking, you can see it sliding down that eastern side of the North Island, mostly dry in the South Island, mostly dry also for the western North Island. And a zoom in of that map shows the heaviest rain out here around Gisborne, where over 120, 150 millimeters is possible, but we're still needing to lock that in because we need to know exactly where the center of that storm is going to go. So once we get to Tuesday, the storm now out at sea for the most part. It's brushing wide at upper in Hawke's Bay, southern and central Hawke's Bay with a bit of wet weather. Southerlies blowing through, but the damaging portion almost entirely out at sea on this model here. So that is some good news. And then our final map for Wednesday, passing the Chatham Islands, completely falling apart. Although, interestingly on this map, another cyclone up here near Rarotonga and ex-cyclone Tiffany's remnants coming out around New South Wales might end up making it over to New Zealand's west coast. So quite a lot going on. A lot going on in the next few days. MetService are the ones from the government for the official warnings and watches. We expect the warnings and watches to appear on our Weather Watch website at some point, either later today or over the weekend. They don't normally issue them too far in advance, but for the exact same reason I was just talking about, you really do need to know where the center of that storm is going to be. That makes all the difference for those warnings. So we still need another day or two. That is all from me. We'll keep you up to date. We'll have more updates over the weekend. Good to be back. We might see you tomorrow for another video update. We'll just see how things go, but we'll certainly be doing our news updates and map updates at both weatherwatch.co.nz and ruralweather.co.nz. We'll see you again soon.